1,000 people here cheering on the Poms, but we just got to go out and give our 100% and play to our ability.
Cumbria, also from the second division, were the final victim, going down 44 points to 0, with the match confirming in Bob Fulton's mind his first test team. Brad Fittler was outstanding, leaving no doubt he was ready to step into the vacant 5'8" position, while Tim Brasher's continued good form and Steve Renoff's dangerous running game meant they would grab the most contentious positions of fullback and centre. A record of 162-4 to 24 against, scoring 33 tries in the process, is certainly impressive, but for coach Bob Fulton, everything rests on a Wembley victory.
The biggest plus for us is that all we've had to do is focus on one game. We haven't had to put up with you know, these intense games at the start of tours where in 90 we had to play Wigan in our lead-up before the first test. We had to play Wigan, we had to play Leeds, and we had some pretty tough encounters, albeit in the end we won by big scores, but you still have to focus on those games. We knew that we were going to win these other games. They were practice matches, that's the way they were treated, and I'm real comfortable with the preparation that we have had is probably better for this particular game than what it was before the first test in 90.
Well, plenty of attack shown by the Australians leading up to this game, and Bob Fulton really has gone for an attacking outfit. A couple of debutants in the likes of Tim Brasher and Steve Renoff. Must have been very tough to come up with a couple of decisions, and certainly one of those tough decisions would have been the hooking role. Kerrod Walters unluckily missed out, one of the three brothers on tour, and he's now on the sideline speaking with Chris Bombolas.
Well, thanks, Paddy. Kerrod, the atmosphere really electric here. The crowd's starting to build up. Obviously a little disappointed for yourself not being in the starting 17.
Yeah, very disappointed sort of to not make the side, but I was very happy just to make the World Cup squad and to come over here and get a chance to sample the atmosphere at Wembley again.
A lot of people have been talking about the build-up and the soft build-up the Australians have had. Do you think it's been the right kind of lead into this Wembley Cup final?
Well, I would have thought that they might have chosen a few harder games, but the guys' performance have been, first class, and it's good to see there's no injuries getting carried into the game, and the guys are playing well.
OK, Kerrod, we'll let you soak up the atmosphere. It's back to Peter Sterling. Thanks, mate.
And out come the teams onto Wembley Stadium. A little bit different than we see back in Australia. The teams actually walk out behind their managers and coach. It really is a marvellous way to take the ground. There's Jeff Carr, the manager of this Australian side, the St George chief executive. A marvellous occasion for so many of those players. I heard Martin Offia speaking during the week, one of the more experienced players. He said this is the most important game of your life. And there's a man who is going to be a key for England, Gary Schofield, and the Australian captain Mal Meninga has been here on a couple of occasions. Scored a winning try in the Ashes series in 1990, and a man certainly that the English side do fear. Ellery Hanley making a comeback for the English side. We didn't see Ellery Hanley play on tour, I think, for more than 20 minutes. And apart from his great ability out there, he's going to exude tremendous confidence through the rest of this English side. Martin Offia has been under an injury cloud for the most of the week. Did play for Wigan against St Helens in a cup final last weekend. Made it through that without any further injury. And that hamstring problem is something that must have worried the English camp, because he really is one player they'll be looking for to take advantage on what is quite a wide ground, Paul. But one thing, playing at Wembley, you seem to have a lot of space out there.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of the old Sydney cricket ground with the oval shape, and there's plenty of wide open spaces out there. And they'll line up now, all the players, and the dignitaries will come down and meet all the players. Obviously, Uncle Ken Arthurson, he'll probably come down and have a chat. And it's a great occasion for all these players. I think it's great that O'Fire is in the side. If Great Britain are to have any chance of winning this game, I think it rests with him and the pace that he has got. Fastest man on the field, no doubt about that. And if they can do put some kicks in for him early, then there may be a chance. Also, their forward pack looks very strong. Kevin Ward, who played it with Manly in 1987, he's still going around. He's got to be 45 years old, but apparently he's in terrific form over here and is the form forward of the competition. So they'll be looking forward to him taking those hard yards up the middle, especially in the first 20 minutes.
Well, the players now meeting those dignitaries not long before kick-off. We'll take a break and come back with all the action in the World Cup final between Australia and Great Britain.
Welcome back to Wembley now as we pause for the national anthems.
Well, if that doesn't send chills down your spine, nothing ever will. The singing of the English crowd, really something to savour. I remember walking down the tunnel in 1985 for the whole club, and the noise nearly knocked you over as you got to the end of that tunnel. There are the Australians getting together. I suppose a great feeling of mateship out there now. They know it's us against them.
It's quite amazing. I was here in 1973 when they brought rugby league to London, and 7,000 only here. 1992, something like 77,000. Let's have a look at this Australian side, and it's Brasher at fullback, Khan on one wing, Hancock the other, Renouf Meninga, Fittler Langer, and at the back of the scrum is Bradley Clyde, Bob Linder and Paul Siren in the second row, Mark Sargent, Glenn Lazarus the front, and Steve Walters between them. Now the Great Britain side, Joe Lydon came in onto the side on Thursday. Alan Hunt on one wing, Martin O'Fire the other. Connolly, 21 years of age, in the centres with Gary Schofield, the captain. The halves are Sean Edwards and Derek Fox. And then it's Ellery Hanley at lock. Clark and Betts the second row. Platt and Ward the front. And Martin Dermott is the hooker. This stadium, I'm reasonably certain, was only half full about a half an hour ago, but they have absolutely come from everywhere to pack this magnificent sporting arena.
I find that tends to be the case, Ray, with it being so cold over here. The soccer games, you can be there 10 minutes before kick-off, and as you say, half a stadium. By kick-off, everybody's there. We have got a very nice day here for this game. They said that there was going to be some rain later on in the afternoon. We hope that won't be the case. But a gentle breeze blowing now, probably favouring the English side in this first 40 minutes. But even a little bit of sunshine coming out now on the far side of the field, and that will suit the Australians.
Great Britain haven't won this trophy since 1972. That series was played in France, and the final at Lyon was a 10-all draw that day, but Great Britain, with the better qualifying record, won after extra time. And that would be the case here if a draw was the result today. Australia, with the better qualifying record, would win the Stones World Cup trophy. Mal Meninga, most number of caps in Test football, 38 in all. And Mal, of course, is on his 4th official tour of Great Britain. Steve Walters, one of the history-making brothers. Kevin on the bench today. Kerrod, of course, missing the side. Still a magnificent achievement by the family. Just the final preparations taking place at the moment. Mark Sargent, a Kangaroo from 1990, finished off the season for the Newcastle Knights with some powerhouse displays. In fact, I think out here in the 1990 tour of England, he scored something like 6 tries, Mark, in all the matches played. And Willie Kahn exhibits one of the closely cropped haircuts that the Broncos are showing these days.
Yeah, they're shockers, aren't they, the haircuts? But Mark Sargent has won his spurs in this game through some good form over here in the lead-up games. He and Harrigan came over. Probably Harrigan was in front at that stage, but because of Sargent's good form, he finds himself on the Test side.
Gary Schofield leads the Great Britain side today in the centres. He's there supposedly to stem the Australian attack. Joe Lydon was called up, as I said, when we ran through the team card on Thursday to replace Stedman. And look at this fellow, Kevin Ward. Awesome looking man, a bricklayer by trade, and hoping to lay a few of the Australian forwards on the turf here at Wembley today. Ellery Hanley, at one stage of his career, voted the greatest player in rugby league. And this is a man that I know Peter Sterling has a big rap on, Andy Platt.
Well, I think that he proved he's one of the best forwards on the recent tour of Australia, and they'll be looking for him to continue that kind of form. A tremendous work rate, can play in the second row or the front row, and he takes the yards forward. He's a go-forward man, and that's what England will need out here this afternoon against Australia. They need to get some momentum going and give some room to the likes of Shaun Edwards and Gary Schofield now playing out wide.
Dennis Hale from Auckland in New Zealand has the match. And, of course, he had the Test series earlier this year in Australia. He came in for quite a blasting from Shaun Edwards in the press here during the week, where he said, and I quote, "If he referees the same way in this match, then put your money on Australia." So Edwards didn't mince his words when asked for an opinion of the New Zealand referee, Dennis Hale. Looking down on Wembley from the high shot, the cherry picker shot, and just about every vantage point has been taken. Australia, the holders of the World Cup, they won it at Eden Park in front of 47,000 people back in 1988. You were a member of that side, were you not, Mr. Borton?
No, Ravs. I actually played in the new series, the last 4-year series. I played in the first World Cup game we played in 1989 in Auckland.
There they are, the skippers, both wearing number 4. Gary Schofield and Mal Meninga. This crowd in fine voice, and we're in for one tremendous sporting occasion as we bring you the World Cup final on the wide world of sports. Wherever you're watching us, sit back and enjoy it as Mal Meninga kicks off. The World Cup final is underway. Dennis Betts is the first of the Great Britain players to come back and reach the reception committee from Australia. This is Hunt, swarmed over the top by Sargent in particular. Lazarus was with him. Now they go left, and it's a cutout ball for Ward. Australia coming up very quickly in defence. England having trouble getting outside the 22. Andy Platt makes an indentation. Now away from Edwards. A face ball for Schofield, but they really haven't gone anywhere. But here's the first penalty to Great Britain.
And a very opportune penalty, that one. Great Britain finding it difficult to get out of their own 22. They managed with the face pass, but a cardinal sin committed by Australia there, giving away a penalty on the last tackle. And Great Britain find touch on halfway.
So the tap has been taken, and again Andy Platt is called on to go forward. Dermott is in the 9 jumper. This is Ward in 8. Hit and spin, looking to offload. 40 metres away from the Australian line. Clark is with it in the headgear. Dermott. Cut out pass, second man play for Edwards and then Schofield.
Threw the ball too early there, Shaun Edwards. They created half an overlap, but he didn't go to the defence. As Offia gets involved on the last tackle, 30 metres out.
To the right for the boot of Derek Fox. And a catch for young Tim Brasher. He's lost the ball. That should be a penalty right in front for Great Britain.
Well, the first test for Brasher, and he's failed it. I saw him in a couple of the tapes of the earlier games. He didn't handle the bombs at all. On that occasion, a great little bomb from Derek Fox. Plenty of Great Britain charges there coming through. And Brasher failed that one. This is a gift 2 points for the Great Britain side now. Great take, this good set of 5 tackles there by the Great Britain side. Fox put it up, and Brasher had a mile of time, but good pressure there by Joe Lydon, and Meninga was offside.
And you can bet your life that won't be the first time we see the ball put high for Tim Brasher. They've tested him out early. He's come up with a drop ball, and it will be 2 points to Great Britain. Derek Fox, a very good kicker from that close in range. I would imagine that maybe Joe Lydon would take the longer kicks, but Fox, now with the Bradford club, has this responsibility and a tremendous confidence boost for this team. They've come the whole length of the field. Australia haven't had the football, and they will register first points.
So the first 2 penalties of the final have gone to the home side. And Derek Fox from right in front raises the flags. 2 points to 0 in favour of Great Britain. Wembley, 2-0 in favour of Great Britain. This is only the third tackle on the first set of 6 following the restart. Clark dummies inside and goes over the quarterway line.
They're showing a lot of variety around the rucks, the Great Britain side. A lot of cut-out passes and also change of direction. It's good coaching from Malcolm Real to try and get through this Australian defence.
Sean Edwards comes away from dummy half. 5 tackles gone now for Great Britain. The kick for Joe Lydon. He loses his footing. Flicks the ball out for Fox. Fox gets the kick in.
And that's marvellous skill from Joe Lydon. Got the ball away to Derek Fox on the last tackle as Tim Bassett beats the tackle of Dennis Betts. But Lydon has actually hurt himself in back play. He's limping back into the full-back position.
Linda picked up and driven into the turf. Joint tackle by Clark and Edwards. Now Lazarus takes it up the centre. Walters for Siranen. The big man takes it over the halfway. Met by Hanley and wrapped up. Walters now looking for the left. Langer's with it. Fittler fades inside, but Langer is put away there by Fox. Now Fittler drops it onto the left foot. Ball rolls down into the corner behind Hunt, the winger, and goes in touch in goal. It'll come back to the 22 for the restart. Great Britain leading by 2 points to 0.
Very cool piece of work there from Alan Hunt, the winger. Well, he didn't chase too quickly on the kick. Fortunately for Great Britain, the ball did go dead in goal. On the first tackle, Kevin Ward takes 5 metres as Dennis Betts hits the ball up, and he's had a lot of involvement in the opening part of this game.
Betts now, right in centre field, 32 out from his own line. Hanley got in the road of Dermott. Now it's with Edwards. Tries to step through, but the Australian defence converges. Wrapped up by Siranen. One of the English players warming up. It's looking for Lydon. Beautiful kick. Finding the line 15 metres away from the Australian line.
Been a very positive start by the Great Britain team. Even though we saw a bit of a mix-up there from dummy half with Hanley getting in the road, at least the pass was not thrown. They avoided the mistake, took the ball forward, got a good kick in. The scrum being now set 13 or 14 metres out from the Australian line. Had very little football early on, the Aussies.
7 minutes of the game gone. Willie Kahn comes in from the right wing to take it away. This is Fittler. In fact, it was Clyde.
He's hurt in the tackle.
Now Linda. They're doing it tough out there, the Australian forwards. They haven't had a lot of ball, but when they have, the Englishmen are showing them that they're going to really make them work.
That was great defence by Andy Platt. 10 on 10, Platt on Sargent, as Wallace scoots out and finds Renoff.
Renoff wearing the Australian colours for the first time. Langer sends Lydon across on the 22-metre line and back inside that.
There's a bit of space there too. Not the best kick in the world. The chasers just weren't there, and momentarily Lydon had a flyer unmarked.
This is Clark. The pictures today coming to us through the courtesy of the BBC. Ward is thumped to the ground. Lazarus and Walters. Andy Platt. Heavy stuff in the forwards. Schofield. Tim Brasher kept busy. Schofield's kick. Is it going to find touch? Yes. Oh, that's a marvellous kick. All of 70 metres.
Yes, a great kick there once again. We've seen a couple already from the Great Britain team. That time off the boot of Gary Schofield. I thought he might have got involved with the short kicking game, but they do have a couple of players out there who can kick the ball very long. Joe Lydon at fullback. There he is on screen now. He is one of the long kickers, and the crowd certainly react to the scrum feat of Alan Langer. We know that Alan Langer pretty much has the ball in the scrum before the 2 sets of forwards actually pack. It's not being well received by the Great Britain fans, and neither is that decision against Great Britain inside the 5. awards Australia, I think, their first penalty.
He is keeping a very skinny 5 metres too, Peter. The Australians used to 10 or 12 metres in the play the ball area, but he's only getting about 5 or 6 at this stage is Hale.
Well, that's not going to help them, Paul, but the one thing that I think will, as we've seen early in this game, is the fact he's not that keen to get the players off the tackle player that quickly. And if Australia can slow down the English play the ball, I think that is an enormous advantage they go in with. There's a great ball from Lazarus to Steve Wallace. Picks up Langer.
Langer takes it inside the 32, but Hanley brings him down with a great tackle. Meninga now. Fittler. Inside ball to Linda. Linda's away. 8 metres out from the line. Now Australia's turn to test their defence.
Here's a penalty. Penalty the Australians offside and to play the ball. Wouldn't get off the tackle player. And this will be a shot for goal by Meninga. On that occasion, though, we saw a break made, mainly because the English forwards on the blind side did not move up. Kevin Ward already looking a little bit tired and didn't move an inch. And Bobby Lindner was able to make a great bust up the middle.
Well, here is the bust. Bobby Lindner pushed Hanley off, got into some open space, some good defence coming across from Lydon. Schofield in over the top, and then a quick play of the ball. I must admit, I don't think Australia really wanted that penalty. They were looking for a quick play of the ball. They had numbers out to the right. There's the head-on shot, Bobby Lindner. Taking plenty of stopping there.
The English forwards just did not move up on the blind side. We're only 10 minutes into the match, and they're looking a little bit tired already. But the first time we saw an offload in the tackle, I think it was by Sargent back to Steve Walters. We saw good ground made by the Australians.
So Mal Meninga from right in front, 10 metres out. A very good opportunity to equalise. Great Britain leading 2-0, but now it's 2 points all. 2 points all at Wembley in the final. The action with the ball just being placed for the restart. 2 points all. Penalty goal for Derek Fox and likewise for Mal Meninga. This is Willie Kahn. Clyde. Trickle of blood coming from the nose of Bradley Clyde. Walters lets the first man go and picks up Sirinen. Sargent. The Australian bench. As Steve Walters takes us now towards halfway. Langer places the ball nicely down towards the goal line, forcing Joe Lydon to bring it back. Connolly, a dummy half. He made his Wembley debut as a 17-year-old youngster in 1989 for the St Helens side. Played fullback that day, young Connolly.
Don't remind me about it, Ray.
Yes, I was just about to say, both yourself and Michael O'Connor were in that Challenge Cup final.
27-0, here we go.
Played by Platt. Ward takes it outside the 22.
Well, Kevin's not hitting the advantage line, Peter, is he? He's getting the ball flat-footed. In the olden days, he used to hit it at 100 miles an hour on the fly.
Well, I do think the pace of the game is starting to catch him out a little bit. And Great Britain cannot afford to let him drift wide. Especially defensively, he's got to plug the middle of that gap up. He's a strong man. That's where they need him. They also need a work rate from him as Joe Lydon gets one off the side of the boot. Michael Hancock with a little bit of space. A good tackle from Connolly. Does hang on.
Renoff now. Good defence by the Great Britain side. Langer. Linda working out wide, taking the tackle, giving it to Meninga. One-handed pass for Willie Kahn to go down the right sideline. Brought down though by Sean Edwards. 35 metres away. Langer wide. Fittler straightens. Takes it to the 32 and the penalty.
Well, Martin Dermott's the man who's been called out. Fittler put the left foot step on. Hale's not very happy with him. Swinging arm, I felt, in the tackle. Came in over the top. Trying to assert some authority.
Brad Fittler here straightening the attack. That famous step of his. Took him straight into Dermot.
It was an elbow.
It was an elbow. He's very lucky to still be out there, Martin Dermot.
Well, in Sydney, he would have been sent straight off. He lives to fight another day here. Meninga now will take this kick for goal. He's about 32 metres out, nearly directly in front of the post. And Fittler feeling for his cheekbone there. And I think he's going to go to the sideline, and Nathan Gibbs will have a look at him.
Here's another angle on it. Fittler stepped, tried to beat Betts, and
Well, that is shocking. Fair dinkum. They should just pull him straight off. The referee should have sent him straight off. That's a shocker.
A lot of concern over Bradley Fittler. High up on the cheekbone. You can see the swelling already starting under the right eye.
He's probably got a depressed fracture of the cheekbone.
Dr. Nathan Gibbs satisfied to let Fittler go back into the battle. Mal Meninga, 32 metres out, almost right in front. Looks okay, but it's getting away. No goal, and 2 points all remains the score.
And 2 let-offs there for Great Britain. One, that the points weren't scored, and secondly, that they've still got the full complement of players out there. Fortunately, Brad Fittler has been able to remain on the paddock. It'll be interesting to see how involved he gets in the next couple of minutes. But Australia starting to get a little bit on top here now, getting some momentum going. The wingers getting involved. That's Willie Kahn in centre field.
Pulled down by Henley over the top of Andy Platt. Sirenen. 17 minutes of the match gone. And another penalty goes to Australia. That's for raking the ball out. Now, Chris Bombolas is down on the sidelines. Chris, what's the report on Brad Fittler?
Ray, the doctor says that he may have a small crack of that cheekbone. He's going to give Brad Fittler a few more minutes out on the field, and they want to have a closer look at that, particularly at half-time.
Michael Hancock coming around and taking the ball from Langer towards the 22 line. Hancock struggling in the tackle. Sirenen. Well, Betts had 2 shots at him. Hanley went low. Walters away for Lazarus. Heard the call from Langer. And Langer was smothered by one of the Englishmen coming through. It was Andy Platt. Sargent. He tries to make the break. They're 10 metres out. They're right in front. To the left, and Fittler juggles it. Does well. Lazarus goes the other way. Puts the grubber through. Schofield cleans up.
And cleaned up very well for the Great Britain team. Didn't just dive on the football, was able to dive on it and get to his feet quickly. Didn't make any ground. Good presence of mind there from Gary Schofield, and also from Glenn Lazarus on the last tackle. As we see a high tackle here.
Headbin, Petey's.
It is a headbin.
Bit of claret coming from the bugle, so it'll be Martin Dermot to play the ball.
Phil Clark, the man going off.
I feel the pendulum's just slipping towards Australia now. They've had a bit of possession the last 5-10 minutes. They're looking very good with the ball. So far, the game hasn't opened up. Neither sets of backs have been used to any great degree, and we're still seeing a lot of dummy half running.
Just repeating that our pictures tonight back home are coming to you through the courtesy of the BBC. We thank them for that as Tim Brasher comes back towards the halfway mark. Connolly wraps him up together with Hunt. Renoff, Langer, Fittler. Clyde goes inside, runs the angle. 5 metres into England's half of play. Lazarus. Clark is back on. They've done a very quick repair job on him. Fittler throws the dummy to Renoff, but well read there by young Connolly. Langer. Hancock comes from the left wing. Good sustained defence by the Great Britain side. A couple of the Englishmen from the bench are getting warmed up. Lazarus knocked down by the opposition. Meninga gives it away to Khan.
And great work there from Willie Khan, telling Mal Meninga the ball had been touched by the opposition, not to kick the football, but to hold it for another set of 6. Good communication, some good driving defence there on Mal Meninga.
Meninga plays it on the halfway. Langer spreads it for Fittler. Wider now. It goes to Renoff. Renoff tries to get inside Sean Edwards, but can't. Little bit of pushing and shoving, nothing in it. Clyde. 2 points all then. Midway through the first half, Steve Walters on a dummy half scurry picks up Langer. 32 out from the line, 5 gone. Fittler. Chip and chase. Joe Lydon can't take it. Chance for Australia. Referee ruled that it was propelled forward. So we're going to see a scrum go down 15 metres away from the Great Britain line.
And it has been an Australian scrum feed signalled. Alan Langer going looking for the football, and that's the case. Joe Lydon has been ruled a man that was knocked on. Fittler chipped over the top on the last. Lydon came through at pace. Cleaned up by Australia, but they have the feed right in front.
Langer. Now Fittler. Meninga. 20 metres out. Did that come off the hand over there? Yes, it did. No fire.
Yes, another Australian scrum feed on the 22. Fire getting up very quickly. Meninga tried to push off his opposition player and set Willie Khan up on the outside. Off you got between the 2 players, and Langer again feeds.
Now, he's given the penalty to Great Britain.
Tell me, what was the ruling, Fatty?
Feed across from the scrum. We haven't seen one of them since Moses played hooker. Fair dinkum.
4-3 the penalties to Australia. And 3-0 the scrums to Australia as Andy Platt takes it back to the halfway mark. Bob Linder making the tackle. They let Mark No Fire go and they pick up Kevin Ward.
That's a better run from Kevin.
Now the ball has been lost and he's given the penalty.
Well, he gave a penalty. I don't think he actually saw what happened. He was looking actually towards the outside Australian backs. There's Malcolm Reilly there looking on, sending out instructions. Maurice Lindsay, the chairman, sitting next to him, and it looks going to be a shot for goal by Derek Fox. He's not noted for the length of his goal kicks. He's a very accurate kicker from in close around the post. This could test the length of his kick still. This one.
He'll do well to not only kick this one, but to put it dead if he does miss. Bob Fulton also consults the folder. But I suppose with points, very hard to come by at the moment. 2 points all. This would be a valuable couple not far out from half-time. They could go in 4-2 in front. They'd be reasonably well satisfied. They've done well the last 10 minutes to hold out some strong Australian attack in their quarter.
Fox is just outside the 40-metre line. He's almost in centre field. 2 points all. He raised the flags after 6 minutes. In flight, he's having no trouble with distance, nor direction. Great Britain lead by 4 points to 2. Ball carried back to the halfway quickly by the Australians. The deep kick-off is fielded back there by Hunt. Met by Linder and Walters. He's put down on his own 10-metre line. Hanley.
One of his few touches. He's done a great tackling stint today, Ellery Hanley, but hasn't been heavily involved in the ball hitting up at all. But he's got to get a lot more involved as Dennis Betts gets out to the 22-metre line.
A groan from the crowd. They thought that maybe the Lazarus tackle was a touch high. Kevin Ward plays the ball. Edwards gets away. Clark goes up the centre. Wrapped up and put down by Lazarus on 5. Now it's Fox. That's going to find touch. Only about 12 metres away from the line.
And about as good a set of 5 as you would ever see. They work the ball out very confidently. Kevin Ward
good play the balls.
Good play the balls,
yeah.
Quick play the balls. But they took the yards, hit the fringe of the ruck of the Australian side, and then Derek Fox got an unchallenged kick away over the head of Michael Hancock, got the favourable bounce, and they now find themselves inside the 22 of Australia, and the crowd singing once again.
I noticed it from the scrums, Peter. You can see that the blindside winger is actually on the open. They wouldn't want to win one against the feed. Great Britain will just stroll down that blindside.
Hancock picked up and driven into the ground by Connolly. Clyde. Just looking at these flags, the breeze in the first half is behind Great Britain. How big an effect as we pick up the play with Khan going down the sideline to the halfway, pulled down by the halves, Edwards and Fox.
Need a quick play the ball. They'll go wide straight away. Alan Langer looking for support, and he's picked up Steve Ollers on the inside. The Australian attack a little bit slow to link up with Langer there. They now do so off Fittler.
Fittler turning it back for Sirinen. Sirinen looking to promote it. Tackled on the 32. This is the last. Langer. Long ball for Linda. Shorter pass for Meninga. Puts it under the boot and looks to send the winger in there, but it was nicely taken by O'Fire.
Yeah, not very positive play there by the Australians. The kick was a nothing kick, really. I thought Mal could have turned Willie Khan back inside. There was a bit of space there, but in the end, O'Fire saved the day as a loose ball on the ground, and it's been ruled a knock-on by Dennis Hale, and this is what the Australians are looking for.
Well, I think that's a pretty tough decision against Great Britain, but they did bring it upon themselves, trying to get away some silly passes in a dangerous situation. Scrum 10 metres out now. Derek Fox screaming at his players. It's got to be a super defensive effort now. 6 tackles for the Aussies.
Great opportunity here for the green and gold. Clyde is brought down about 5 metres out from the line. Khan has gone to dummy half. Takes a dummy half, Settler.
It's a waste, that one.
Now it's come away from Linda. Long pass for Langer. Pushed on for Fittler. Turned inside Meninga. 10 metres out. Great Britain's defence really stretched now. Penalty goes to Australia.
It's against Ellery Hanley in the tackle. And this will be another 2 points, hopefully, for the Australians. Meninga lining up 22 metres out, 10 minutes. Fittler turned Mel back in. He got out of the end, he track tackled, then Hanley came in with Kevin Ward. I think there was a bit of business went on here from Hanley in the tackle. A little short uppercut there, a little right, and Hale didn't miss it at all.
By the same token, both these penalties that have been given to Australia have come at absolutely the wrong time. They've been boiling up to something, and both times Hale has come in and give them the opportunity for 2 points.
I totally agree. I think that the Australians were looking for a quick play of the ball. They've been more or less forced to take these kicks where they probably would have opted to have played their set of 6 out, maybe rolled a little one into the in-goal area and get another 6 back. Meninga now has a chance, trailing 4-2, to deadlock the scores once again. They would like some flow in attack, the Australian teams, and that means that they'd probably prefer to do without those penalties.
Now Meninga is only about 10 metres off centre, 20 metres out, strikes it, gets to 2 points. We're back level again at 4 points all in the World Cup final. So back to the halfway we come.
Mate.
Crowd of around 77,000 really cheering on their side. Just a sprinkling of green and gold supporters amongst the crowd. But we're well and truly outnumbered today. This is going to take a mighty effort by the Australians to take this World Cup and retain the trophy. Langer uses Sirinen.
Well, there's certainly a big crowd support here for the Great Britain team. We mentioned that earlier. I also said that I didn't think that would play a great role, because playing in front of this kind of atmosphere is something that class players savour. The big thing is, of course, that Great Britain are 2 months into their season. We're out of ours at the moment.
Well, there's been a mistake made there by Lazarus as he threw the ball back. The ball went to ground, and now it's been ruled a knock-on. This will be a Great Britain feed.
Can't afford to make mistakes on the first or second tackle down in your own quarter. Oh, it's an Australian feed.
Well, the referee's ruled that he played some advantage. There wasn't any, certainly to Great Britain. And a good break there for the Australian team as Meninga, well, I think Sean Edwards pulled out of that, and luckily so.
Turn it up.
Well, I don't think he got him as well as he could have got. The penalty has gone Australia's way anyway. Well, let's have a look at it. Well, I still think he half pulled out.
Swatting flies.
Fairly big fly, that one.
There's the culprit, Sean Edwards. Mal Meninga finds the line. 6-4 the penalties to Australia. Lazarus. Good run, soaking up plenty of the Great Britain defence. Langer runs decoy to the blind. Linda comes open. And Steve Walters goes into dummy half.
And I do think Steve Walters is the man who's causing the biggest problems out there. When the Australian forwards get some momentum and get a quick play of the ball, he is so good at getting out of that dummy half area quickly and taking advantage. Here he goes again, looking to pick someone up inside. Not his best run there, but they're still struggling to put him on the deck.
Very strong man. The good thing about him, when he throws the ball from dummy half, he always trails up on the inside looking for the ball back.
Little kick by Fittler. Pouncing on the ball is Brasher. Just inside the 22-metre line. They'll probably put it through the hands here. Well, Hanley was offside. Fittler now dances away, turns it away and picked up by Clark. Connolly's with it.
He's had a super game, Gary Connolly, in the centres. Defensively, has been very, very good. Has run the football well also.
Hanley put down by Sirinen. Kevin Ward. Comes away from Linda, put down by Sirinen again. Dermott, Edwards, Fox. Their kicking game has been pretty good so far. Brasher.
Talking about the Australians being out of their season at the moment. As we come into the last 10 minutes of this first half, this is where the fatigue factor would start to hit home. A few of the Australians taking a little while to get back. Michael Hancock goes across field, taken well by Edwards with the help of Offia. But a few of the Australians now looking a little bit tired as well.
He's had a great tackling game, Sean Edwards. He's saved 3 or 4 tricky situations for the Great Britain side with just good cover defence. That's got to be forward.
He's given the penalty. You don't often see a penalty come from that infringement, but he's ruled that the ball was thrown deliberately forward.
I think it was just a breakdown in communication there. Sirinen certainly wasn't expecting the football, and Walters looked up and saw the green jersey.
Well, Ciro knew as soon as he got the ball, he knew it was a forward pass.
Well, here's the play of the ball, and there's no doubt that the ball was sent forward from Walters to Sirinen. But, of course, that normally would see a scrum go down. But he's used the other option, and that is, as I say, the ball was deliberately thrown forward. So the penalty for Derek Fox, right in front, 30 metres out. Successful with both his attempts so far. 4 points all. Nearing half-time. Derek Fox strikes it nicely. There's a further 2 points. Great Britain leading again by 6 points to 4. Derek Fox with 3 out of 3. Quick restart by Mal Meninga. Some action on the bench there for Great Britain. Hanley.
Just starting to work into the game a little bit more for Great Britain. Ellery Hanley. Quite an ordinary start to the amount of football he was carrying. His defence was very good.
Here's Platt. 10 metres. Dermott gets a quick pass away for Ward.
Well, they've got a roll on now, the Pommies. That ball's gone loose. Should be play on. No, he's ruled it's gone forward. Unlucky for the Great Britain side. But if these front rowers and second rowers can start putting some passes together, then they will frighten the Australian defence.
Langer. The pass bounces twice to Renoff. Schofield comes up and puts the youngster down. Almost on the halfway mark. Brasher. Solid tackle by Hunt. Hancock tries to shrug off Connolly. Walters. Langer. This is Sargent. Kevin Ward was equal to the task. Walters now. No runners. Langer. Held up by Fox. It's a very skinny 5 metres as Fittler puts the kick in over the head of Hunt, the winger. They're going to be forced to bring it back. Will they get back? Hunt comes away with explosive speed.
Well, that was very poor play by the Australians there. As something has gone on in the tackle.
It'll be
Fittler. But a poor chase by the Australians.
There was only Bradley Clyde down there, and one-on-one Hunt was always going to beat Bradley Clyde. He was coming through very fast.
Fittler appeared to put one on the whiskers of Hunt after he'd made the tackle. Watch it here. He makes the tackle. Good piece of work by Fittler, but then there it is.
Might have been a little bit of a get square, I think, from earlier in the match. But he has given away the penalty. Again, Great Britain working the ball out of their own territory. Kevin Ward. Hillary Hanley setting himself to run the decoy on the next play.
Clark. Dermott. Running across for Betts. That's a good tackle by Lazarus.
And a good play from Great Britain after running a second-man play the previous play. They picked up the man who looked as though he was a decoy, Dennis Betts.
Edwards. Pulled down by 2 of the big men, Sargent and Sirenen. Hanley goes away from dummy half. Sirenen's getting through a mountain of defence. Fox. Cut-out pass for Schofield. Stands and tries to deliver. Does. Edwards puts in the grubber, and they find the line. Only 15 metres away.
Well, they're playing very well, Great Britain, Sterlo, and some of these Australian forwards are looking a bit tired, especially Sarge and Lazo, doing it a bit tough while Great Britain continue to turn them around with this good kicking game.
And we are into that danger period for the Australians. They haven't played some hard matches for quite a number of weeks now, and they're certainly getting that out there. Very physical game. Andy Platt, Kevin Ward taking the ball forward very strongly.
Now Khan gets it out to the 22-metre line. Clyde. 6 points to 4 in favour of Great Britain. That was their price over here before kick-off. 5-2 on Australia. 6-4 Great Britain. Linda tries to squeeze the pass out to Renoff. Knock-on has been ordered.
Not the kind of play Bob Fulton would have been looking for late in the first half. Bob Lindner trying to throw a pass that wasn't really on. Alan Hunt had his man marked outside anyway. The error comes up. They'd have been looking just to get a long kick in and try and force the Great Britain team into a mistake.
Problems here for young Gary Connolly. That ball was knocked down by Australia, picked up by Edwards. Same result. This is the first tackle. Clark and the run around with Hunt. Picked off and put down by Clyde. Ward. 40 metres out, centre of the ground. Edwards. Penalty goes to Great Britain.
Well, I don't know about this one. I just thought there was a pretty ordinary play of the ball by Wardy. The old master, he's gotten better as the game's gone on. Gary Connolly looks in a lot of trouble there.
Yeah, it's a pretty bad ankle injury. Saw the trainer trying to move it. A fair bit of pain and anguish on the face of young Connolly. And that's a bad break for the Great Britain team if he's to leave the field, because he's been close to their best.
Well, John Devereux would be the man to come on. Devereux will wear jumper number 14 into the game to join Manly next year of Welsh origin. And John Devereux warming up there to come on for Gary Connolly. Fox is 40 metres out, but again he's right in front. He had the distance earlier. This one he has hooked it badly. And Brad Clyde goes away towards Willie Kahn's wing, turns it inside for Brasher. He gets around Kevin Ward, goes down to the halfway mark.
Oh, it's great counter-attack by the Australians. They're looking in the barrel of 2 points against them, then they brought it out to the halfway mark. As the half-time hooter goes.
And at half-time, Great Britain lead Australia 6 points to 4. No tries in the game. 3 goals out of 4 attempts for Derek Fox. And 2 out of 3 for Mal Meninga. And this World Cup, as many predicted, it could go either way in a very close contest. And Great Britain have really turned it on in the first half. They've shown plenty of enterprise. Their defence has been sound. And they're in this World Cup final. Right up to their ears, leading 6-4. Gary Connolly limps from the field. I don't know that we'll see him again in the second half. And talking of the second half, we'll be back with all of that action on the other side of our half-time break with Peter Sterling and Paul Vorton.
We're in favour of Great Britain over Australia here in the World Cup final at Wembley Stadium. In a trialless first half, Derek Fox successful with 3 penalty attempts, and Mal Meninga registering Australians 2 goals to take them on to 4 points. A game where really England started very strongly, finished the half strongly, and Australia probably dominated that middle 10 or 15 minutes, but not a lot of ball movement, Paul Vorton. Very physical game, mostly in the forwards.
Yeah, it's been mainly a forwards game today, Peter. We haven't seen much of the outside backs at all, especially the Great Britain side. I really did think they would have given the ball a lot more out to the likes of Schofield and Martin Afire. He's out there for a holiday today. Haven't seen any of the pill, and we're looking forward to a bit more of that in the second half, I think.
Well, very limited chances, but they did show the ball some air early in the game, the Great Britain team. Derek Fox putting up a kick, and it certainly put Tim Brasher under a lot of pressure.
To the right, to the boot of Derek Fox. And a test for young Tim Brasher. He's lost the ball. That should be a penalty. Right in front for Great Britain.
Well, the first test for Brasher, and he's failed it. I saw him in a couple of the tapes of the earlier games. He didn't handle the bombs at all. On that occasion, a great little bomb from Derek Fox. Plenty of Great Britain charges there coming through, and Brasher failed that one. This is a gift 2 points to the Great Britain side now.
A nervous start there for young Tim Brasher, playing in his first test match, but he really has played well following that. That resulted in that first penalty and the first points for Great Britain. Australia got in the position early in the second half also through some penalties, but that was after a break from Bob Linder where Australia really looked dangerous. I didn't think the penalty was really one that Australia wanted, but it was an ominous sign with Bob Linder making a good break early in the game against the Great Britain defence.
Meninga now. Fittler. Inside ball for Linder. Linder's away. 8 metres out from the line.
Right-hand side.
Australia's turned to test their defence.
Here's a penalty. Penalty the Australians offside in the play the ball. Wouldn't get off the tackle player. And this will be a shot for goal by Meninga.
We saw a couple of penalties in those situations, Paul. I thought that Australia really were looking for a quick play the ball, and they really weren't given an opportunity to capitalise on some pretty good field position during that part of the game.
Yeah, it's times like that when you probably want to keep the ball going on, use the ball out wide and look for a try, but you can't knock back the penalties. They've got 4 points on the board because of them, and they haven't looked like scoring a try though, have they?
No, they haven't, and it has been a very physical game. Some great defence out there. A couple of unsavoury incidents, and really the outstanding one, of course, was the injury to Bradley Fittler. I thought that the Great Britain team are still lucky to have 12 players out there.
Well, look, he should have been sent straight off, Martin Dermott. It was a horror, and let's hope that Brad Fittler hasn't got a broken cheekbone.
Fittler's...
35 metres away. Langer wide. Fittler straightens. Takes it to the 32 and a penalty.
Well, Martin Dermott's the man who's been called out. Fittler put the left foot step on. Hale's not very happy with him.
Brad Fittler here straightening the attack. That famous step of his took him straight into Dermott.
It was an elbow.
It was an elbow. He's very lucky to still be out there, Martin Dermott.
Here's another angle on it. Fittler stepped, tried to beat Betts and...
Well, that is shocking. Fair dinkum. They should just pull him straight off. The referee should have sent him straight off. That's a shocker.
The first 40 minutes really dominated by the forwards. Both the back rows, I think, have been fairly impressive. We mentioned Kevin Ward looked a little bit tired early on, but the further the game has gone, the
He got his
more wind he's
second wind.
found.
It happens when you get a bit older, Pete. You get that second wind after the initial 15 or 20 minutes. I think all the forwards have shared the workload, especially on the Australian side. I think they've all done pretty well. They looked a little bit tired towards the end of that section, but the last 10 minutes of their second half could be a bit dusty for them.
Well, Steve Walters, I thought, was close to Australia's best. His work out of dummy half was very, very good. The only mistake we saw was a forward pass thrown by Steve Walters to Paul Sirinen. That resulted in another penalty to the Great Britain team.
He's had a great tackling game, Sean Edwards. He saved 3 or 4 tricky situations for the Great Britain side with just good cover defence. That's got to be forward.
He's given the penalty. You don't often see a penalty come from that infringement, but he's ruled that the ball was thrown deliberately forward.
I think it was just a breakdown in communication there. Sirinen certainly wasn't expecting the football, and Walters looked up and saw the green jersey.
Well, Ciro knew as soon as he got the ball, he knew it was a forward pass.
Plenty of work for Australia to do in the second half, trailing 6 points to 4 behind Great Britain in the World Cup final. We'll go to a break now and come back with all the second half action in just a moment.
The wide world of sports at the World Cup final at Wembley. At half-time, Great Britain leading Australia by 6 points to 4. Let's go to the sidelines now. Chris Bommelis is with Ricky Stewart.
Thank you, Ray. Well, the boys are enjoying their half-time break. Ricky, what about yourself? How do you see the game going so far?
Well, so far it's been, going from one end of the field to the other, but I see when Australia get the ball in the Great Britain's half, we're very dangerous. I mean, both times we've been pulled up and given penalties. If the ref plays on, that gives us the benefit of the doubt. We may score 2 tries, so it's been very unlucky in that situation.
A very skinny 5 yards for both sides.
That's the reason that the game hasn't been a lot of attacking flair, but we've been catching them short on the side of the ruck, so I think just on the edges of the ruck we can get them.
Our thanks to Ricky Stewart, and we'll get back to the game and back to Ray Warren.
Okay, Chris, thank you very much indeed. Let's have a look at the statistics out of that first half as players come back out. And Peter Sterling.
Very little between the statistics of both teams in that first 40 minutes, and that is reflected on the scoreboard. Quite a few penalties, 13 in all. Australia 6, Great Britain 7. The scrums were a massive advantage there to Australia, 8-1. Shows that they've played some good field position, but also benefited from mistakes from the Great Britain team. Total tackles very similar. Missed tackles is the big one, as we see the Australians prepare in the dressing shed to come out in the second half. Handling errors, well, that's evenly shared. So are the kicks in play. And really very little between these two teams. Now Australia, they are 2 points behind. A fairly big 40 minutes being asked here by Bob Fulton, as the Australians do take the field. Great Britain already out in the centre.
And the news for Great Britain, Sterlo and Rabs, is that Connolly has succumbed to that ankle injury, and John Devereaux is on the field for the Great Britain side.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, that is a blow for Great Britain.
He was having a super game, wasn't he?
He was playing great. His defence, especially against some pretty smart players in the centres for Australia in Meninga and Steve Renouf, was very, very good. And he was just starting to run the football very dangerously, and they will miss him out there. I don't know the defensive qualities of this man, John Devereaux, but he's going to be called upon to do plenty. And a little tap on the head there from his wing partner, Alan Hunt.
So this massive crowd at Wembley.
There's been a change on the Australian side too, Ray. Sirinen is off and Dave Gillespie is on.
I don't think that'll greatly endear Bob Fulton to this Great Britain team either. Gillespie is a player that had a marvellous test series, coming off the bench on a couple of occasions. As Derek Fox gets the second half underway, And we expect some big defence from early from David Gillespie.
Very high kick-off by Fox. And Khan it is elected to run it back. Clyde. Steve Walters now. Wrestled into the ground by Phil Clark. Lazarus. Sargent. What's the story on Paul Sirenen, Chris Bommelis?
Well, Ray, he's twisted his lower back. I don't think he'll be taking part in the game again. Out there is David Gillespie. The news is a lot better for Brad Fittler. No break in that cheek. They will have it x-rayed just as a precaution, but it's not as bad as they first thought it was.
That's good news for Fittler, and I was close to the mark for Connolly. I thought it was an ankle injury. The lower back must have got twisted in the tackle. And Devereaux, we will see in the Winfield Cup competition next year, of course, joining the Manly Club. He's the man Great Britain have called upon as a replacement.
Edwards away. Out wide is Betts. Dennis Betts plays it, and Sean Edwards scampers away from dummy half. Now it's Martin O'Fire's turn to play it on the last tackle. Fox. Lydon gets the kick in. He's been under pressure today, but he's always answered the call. This is Tim Brash's turn. Out and beyond the quarterway line. Clyde. Always in position to take at least one run on every set of 6. Linda.
Ray, we also have a report from the sideline that Paul Sirenen, who had a very good first half, also has a back problem, twist to the back. I don't think that'll be enough to keep him coming back into the game. But they've opted for Gillespie early in the second half.
Sargent. They've got a wide blindside set, and they put it through 3 sets of hands. Willie Kahn did magnificently. Tackled about 12 metres into Great Britain's area by Dennis Betts. Now it's with Langer. They go to the air and they test Joe Lydon. Clyde makes the tackle. Hanley. Now Devereaux. Hanley, 31 years of age these days, and just losing a little bit of that pace off the mark, hasn't he? Has been plagued with injuries, however. Platt. The same can be said for Martin O'Fire, who we haven't seen a lot of in the match so far.
And Bradley Clyde's gone down injured. He's called to the sideline already. He's got an arm problem, and he's going to be replaced, I'd say. He's put his own hand up as Brasher brings the ball back.
From the signal, you've got to think he's got a broken arm there. It went straight up. Look at the pain on his face. He knew straight away.
Brad Clyde.
And Johnny Cartwright with a man. He's getting stripped now. He's in a lot of pain. He'll come on, Carty.
Gillespie. Well, Clyde just got to the sideline, and Nathan Gibbs came out to meet him in extreme pain. Langer, Fittler, Meninga, Tim Brasher. But England snuffing out the Australian attack. Kevin Walters is coming on. Fittler puts it high in the air. Hunt misses at the first attempt. Langer brings him down about 40 metres out from the Great Britain line. Lydon.
Interesting decision, Peter, to bring on Kevin Walters. He's a utility player, mainly a 5'8", to play in the lock-forward role. Cartwright was getting stripped. It looks like a knock on there from the Great Britain side. But Carty was getting stripped, and all of a sudden Bozo changed his mind and sent Kevy on instead.
Yes, an unusual change here from Bob Fulton. It'll be interesting to see just how the team pans out now.
Well, he's put Brad Fittler into the lock-forward position.
And there's Clyde, fairly dejected figure, heading along the sidelines of this Wembley field back to the dressing sheds. Fittler into lock.
Away to Walters. And a long ball for Renoff. The run around with Meninga. But it went horribly wrong at the end.
Well, Timmy Brasher was supposed to be on the outside. It's obvious a play they have practiced. Timmy just got a bit mixed up. He ended up being on the inside. Mallard created a bit of space out.
What's the news on Bradley Clyde, Chris Bommelis?
He has a dislocated shoulder. Nathan Gibbs is taking him back into the dressing room to work on that.
Lazarus now. 8 metres into Great Britain's territory. Willie Kahn. Walters. Langer. Gillespie. Walters back in the centre. Oh, he pops out a one-hander. Ball goes to ground and the referee has ruled a knock on.
Tried to drag that one back. Just wouldn't come. Silly pass from Steve Walters. His brother Kevin, as we were talking about, it's an interesting decision by Bob Fulton. I thought that Cartwright would have been a ready-made replacement to come on. A little bit of creativity there.
Especially with Bobby Linder, who is normally a lock forward.
Clark. 6 points to 4 in favour of Great Britain. 6 minutes gone, second half. Dermott. Fox away for Edwards. Wide ball for Schofield. Langer wraps him up. Betts is the dummy half. Big man. Regarded very highly here in England. Edwards fires it back for the Leiden kick. Brasher gets under it. Andy Platt, one of the first players down the ground, makes the tackle. Betts came over the top. Walters fires it wide for Renoff. Devereaux brings him down with some help there from Derek Fox. Alan Tate is warming up for the Great Britain side as it comes away to Meninga. Gets a one-hander away to Kahn. Kahn tried to get the pass back to Meninga, but the knock-on has been ordered by referee Dennis Hale.
Well, they're very guilty, the Australian side today, of handling errors. Too many. Bob Fulton wouldn't be happy with some of their performances as far as the handling is going. Some desperation passes being thrown.
Joe Leiden is being replaced.
Alan Tate coming on, plays with the Widnes Club over here. Former Welsh rugby union player.
Here's O'Fire coming in off the blind wing. Renoff! Pulled down magnificently there by Nathan O'Fire.
Sean Edwards has got him with the best knee and has copped 10 minutes for it. Ridiculous play from Edwards. He's leaving his side short now, but he too is lucky to stay on there. Threw the knee out after making the tackle, and it was a desperate tackle on Steve Renoff. There's a fire coming across, going low. Edwards high, gets to his feet, and we're taking the BBC pictures, and I don't think they wanted to show Sean Edwards in a bad light.
Again, some loose ball tossed up by Australia.
And not a real show of confidence there by Mel in his own kicking. I thought he might have had a shot there. It was only 30 metres out, nearly in front.
Andy Platt. Front on tackle by Lazarus. It had to be made. Kevin Ward keeps the roll going. Listen to that crowd. They love it. The big men are starting to make some inroads. Henley dancing but losing ground. Cut down by Fittler. Schofield. The kicking game thus far has been accurate, but it fell apart there. Chance now for Australia. Joe Leiden, I thought he'd played all right for Great Britain. I suspect there must be an injury there with him.
Well, he too was under a fitness cloud coming into this game. Got a late start with Graham Stedman pulling out. But Leiden, you're right, Ray, has been injured leading up to this game. And Malcolm really keen to get Alan Tate into the action.
Well, that was a perfect example of the skinny five that this referee is keeping. if keeping is the right word, but it's really harnessing Australia. Langer runs the blind side. 18 metres away now. Meninga's gone to dummy half. Fittler wants it, he's got it. Walters is out wide. Tries to dance over the 22 mark. Ball comes out the back again. He says play on. Fittler tries to get a pass away but holds on. Walters. Lazarus on the blind side. Meninga goes towards the corner. Flicks it out for Khan. Khan's rubber kicks. He gets it down, but the referee calls it back.
Well, I don't know if he's ruled a forward pass or a knock on there. It's one of them. Willie Khan, a lovely little piece of play there at the end to kick the ball in and regather, but all to no avail.
You're kidding. I've had 10 quid on Willie Khan at 14-1 to score the first try. What's wrong with that?
Well, let's have a look. We'll see what is wrong with it. Mal getting in the way of Bobby. That's forward.
I'll turn it up to
that
try.
Was forward. That was forward.
Should have 140 quid jumping in.
Phil Clark.
I'll give you a tip, Matty. If Mark Sargent happens to barge over, I'll be hanging off the stadium here.
Now Hanley. Can we leave our Ladbrokes discussion aside for the moment?
Well, here it is again from a different angle. I'm sure that this pass from Mel was the pass. That was the suspect one. Yeah, it's gone forward. It is a bad angle, but it's still looked forward to me.
I don't know. Turn it up. Anyway.
Derek Fox. Willie Khan. Has Brasher with him on the inside. Linda. Langer. Kevin Walters. Langer again. Injecting himself into the match more and more.
It is noticeable Australia looking to go wide a lot more in this game now.
Lazarus hits one up the centre. Oh, good run by Lazarus. Taking play up to the 22 line.
They're finding holes everywhere now, the Australians.
Langer away for Walters. Dummies on the run around. Turns it up the centre. Just 10 metres away from the line. Played by Steve Walters. It's with Brad Fittler. He grubber kicks, and it's Hunt over there, who rakes it over the dead ball line.
Some real pressure plays now from the Australians. They're playing terrific football now. A bit more possession coming their way. Kevin Walters, he's added something to this side since he's come on, jinking and turning the ball back inside. Better replacement made now. Kevin Ward, the old stager, he's had a great game, Wardy. And Kelvin Skerritt, the player to go on and jump at number 15.
And a generous round of applause from the crowd for Kevin Ward, and rightly so. Coming back into the Test Arena, we believe late in his 30s. I think he admits to 35. I think he's cribbing a little bit. But England really up against it now. Australia on a roll.
Is this going to be the set of 6 when Australia is able to score the first try of the game? Linda is brought down. Centre of the ground, Steve Walters. He pinches 10 metres. Another tremendous run by the hooker. Australia's got the numbers on the left, but they come right. Langer shows it, then stands, throws the pass. There'll be a penalty here to Great Britain, I think.
Brad Fittler took one of the English players out of play. They're appealing for something more severe than just a penalty. But Brad Fittler, I think you'll find, took Ellery Hanley out. Langer threw the pass again when it wasn't on. No, he took out Martin Dermott, even though there was very little in it.
Well, this was the high-angle shot of the incident. If you watch Fittler, there he is. He really did nothing at all.
Well, I think you'll find Martin Dermott's got an actor's equity card in his back pocket.
Yeah, he might have one of those, but again, I don't think Fittler had any right to be putting his arm anywhere to put something in the referee's mind. I know that he didn't go through with it, but he put himself in a position to be penalised.
Platt turns it back. Fox gives it to Clark. Clark for Schofield. Dummies to O'Fire, but wrapped up by Meninga and Khan.
Another penalty, the Great Britain side. There's been a play taken out and back play. Andy Platt, the player on the ground. So this will give Great Britain the opportunity to get into the Australian half. They haven't been there for the last 10 minutes or so. It's been all Australia and the crowd urging them on.
45 metres out from their own line. Gary Schofield takes the line finder.
Paul, in the Test series in Australia, we saw Great Britain go for the little kick over the top on many occasions. We haven't seen it once. Do you think that might be the way to break this up?
Well, I've got to try and do something. They haven't really made a clean break all game. But geez, they're running hard now. Scare it and then flat. That's the way to go.
They're wide to the left, Great Britain. Fox on the run around with Clark. Picking up Betts out wide. Langer goes high.
Great
Fittler
defence.
goes in. Henley appeals for a penalty. Now it's to the blind side for Schofield. Driven back by Bob Linder's tackle. Mal Meninga involved as well. This is John Devereaux. 3 metres inside the quarter. This is the last. Fox puts up the bomb. Tim Brasher underneath it. I don't know that he's got the ball.
Great save.
Held up.
He hasn't got it down.
Well, Brasher's come up with the football. Won't get a better test in the fullback position at this level than that one. A perfectly weighted kick just in the try area. Derek Fox again. And they all fly high. Got up very high, the Great Britain player.
I think he's ruled that he, in fact, had the football, Peter, because he's putting the scrum down 10 metres out.
Well, all I know is Brasher came up with the football, and that was the important thing. See it there, yeah, the Great Britain player has got it, but somehow the Australians, Steve Renouf was there as well. Did a marvellous job in Australia, get the penalty, that relieves a lot of pressure. Langer, a quick kick, finds touch just inside halfway.
17 minutes of the second half gone. Steve Walters takes the tap. Langer finds Sargent. Sargent finds some ground over the halfway mark. Walters again. Looking for his runners, finding Gillespie. Hammering tackle by one of the Great Britain forwards. It was Kelvin Skerritt. Fittler, Walters, Meninga. Knocked down by Gary Schofield. And the scrum will go down about 15 metres into England's side of play.
Sean Edwards readying himself to come back into the action. Gary Schofield, he's an intercept master. I've seen him score plenty of tries over the years. Couldn't pull that one back. And the brains trust of this English team, looking fairly concerned, even though their side are in front 6 points to 4. Australia scrum feed win.
Walters giving quick service for Meninga. Brasher links up. Oh, good defence by Devereaux. Or was it Tate? It was the latter. Now it's Renouf. 25 metres out from the line. Langer. Walters backs him up. Fittler calls for it on the right. Dummies to Lazarus. Gives it back inside for Sargent. 15 out from the line. Langer, a wide blind side, and he's pulled down. Desperate tackling by Great Britain. This is the last. Fittler chips for himself. Cleaned up back there is Tate by Fittler. Edwards is back on now.
And this is one game of football now. The ball being thrown around. Both teams looking to go much wider than they were prepared to in the first 40 minutes. And end-to-end stuff. Great test match. 6-4 Great Britain. Still plenty of time for both sides.
Skerritt playing it just inside his own quarter. Devereaux. Fox. Brasher gets a good bounce. Takes Hancock with him. 35 out from his own line. Langer to dummy half. Hancock takes a run. Hancock in one side, out the other. But just ankle tap by Andy Platt. Walters for Langer. Dummies inside for Kevin Walters. Finds Linda, who in turn finds Kevin Walters. And he's put down right on the halfway mark. Gillespie. Steve Walters. Impressive performance by him. 32 metres out from the line. This is the last. Kevin Walters throws the ball across to Khan. Khan waits it into the in goal. And Tate it is that comes away. Beats one, but can't beat Willie Khan. (6-4). And the home side clinging tenaciously to this lead. No tries in the World Cup final. Hanley brushes away from two.
And that's the Hanley of old. That's the Hanley we saw when he was playing with Balmain and West in the Sydney comp.
Played by Devereaux on 5. Fox sends it down for Brasher. The young Balmain utility back. He comes back and gets to the 32. Youngest player ever in a grand final in Sydney, Tim Brasher. He did that at 17 years of age. And here he is at Wembley at 21. Steve Walters works it blind for Langer. Short pass for Kevin Walters, equally for Meninga, and then for Khan. Langer, Fittler. Langer gets a short ball from Steve Walters, but he gets a short enough from Dennis Betts as well. Kevin Walters. Khan turns it inside for Meninga. Hunts with the ball now.
Some great play there by the Broncos connection. Walters it was, you saw that Great Britain was short down the blind side, put Khan into open space, but some great cover defence by the Great Britain side saved that situation.
And John Cartwright is on the sideline. I think he's the man that's got to come in and create a few things on the fridge of the ruck. In the 14 jersey, would imagine that would see either Mark Sargent or Glenn Lazarus, the man replaced. A perfect time for Cartwright to come in and show some of those ball skills that he displayed so well for Penrith this season.
Edwards breaks a perfect pass out for Hunt. Hunt taken in a dual tackle by Renoff and Hancock. I'm told from the sidelines it'll be Mark Sargent coming off. There's the ball finding the line. 6-4 in favour of Great Britain. Wembley, the World Cup final at 6-4 in favour of Great Britain. Forward pass from the dummy half. Allowed to go by New Zealand referee Dennis Hale. Sargent is off. Cartwright is on. This is the 4th tackle. Langer. Walters gets the pass away to Brasher.
This is Great Britain defence. It's super defence by these Pommies. Haven't seen them tackle like this ever.
Meninga flicks it out the back. Picked up by Betts for England.
Well, that's bad play from the captain, Mal Meninga. Shouldn't have flicked that ball. It was only the 4th tackle. And now Great Britain an attacking chance in the Australian half.
Edwards finds Hanley out wide. 40 metres out from the line.
I think the worst thing about the pass, Paul, was there was a hint of panic in it. When your captain's doing that, it can be a little bit infectious in a team.
This is Devereaux. Now Clark turns it back into the centre for Skerritt. They're pretty happy, the people here at Wembley. 6-4 in front. Their side meeting every challenge that Australia's thrown at them. Fox puts it up on the last. Again, Tim Brasher. Oh, beautiful take. Tremendous take by Timmy Brasher. Cartwright with his first touch. Lazarus. Good yards. Down to the 40-metre line. Langer. Kevin Walters. Linda. Steve Walters finds Alan Langer on the blind side. Tate is back there. And the ball just comes to a rest over the dead ball line.
Eventually it did.
Eventually, you're right.
Took an hour to get there.
Chris Johns starting to stretch. This is Hunt. He's lost the ball.
Well, just what England did not want. A mistake on the first tackle from Alan Hunt. We see Brad Fittler now moves back out to 5'8". Kevin Walters into the lock forward position.
Fittler's with it. Running the angle, then stepping off that left foot, but taken by Sean Edwards and Gary Schofield. Here's Cartwright galloping over towards the blind side. Steve Walters.
Well, he ran across looking for some support, and there was no one willing to run off him, run onto that ball.
Langer. Kevin Walters. Back for Langer.
They've been trying the inside passes all day, the Aussies, but the Great Britain defence has been equal to the task. They're coming up both sides now.
Kevin Walters delivers to Renoff. Here comes a try. Renoff. Renoff scores. First and only try. Debutant player. Beautiful pass. Right onto his chest. And Steve Renoff scores a try in his first international.
And he may not score a more crucial try than that. We saw a 90-metre effort in the grand final. And he got outside.
Devereaux.
John Devereaux, the replacement centre, beat him for speed, and this man has got plenty of that. 22 metres he travelled. A great ball here from Kevin Walters.
This is the pass that we saw Kevy develop as the year went on. He puts it on the outside shoulder of the player he's throwing it to. Renoff. Devereaux very poor in defence there. He came up and took no one and allowed Renoff to get on the outside of him. There he was, completely out positioned was Devereaux, and Renoff. Too much pace. Aussies lead 8-6, kick to come.
It wasn't as though they had any problems in defence there, Great Britain. They had the right numbers in defence, but John Devereaux came in and allowed a quick man like Steve Renoff on his outside. We may have just underestimated this kid. What a year he's had. A grand final victory for Brisbane and his first test match.
He's had a great year, but put the try down to the mistake from Hunt when he took the ball up from the 22-metre line.
8 points to 6 now. Australia in front. First time in the match they've been in front. They've been level. But now Mal Meninga has a chance to send them to 10 points to 6. The try came after 26 minutes of the second half. Meninga from the sideline. It doesn't look too bad. Flags are up. Meninga gets the goal. 10-6 Australia. Australia leading by 10 points to 6. And about 10 minutes of the game remaining. Steve Walters. Superb game by the Raiders hooker. Langer goes up the centre. 5 metres short of halfway.
And great players and great teams react to pressure situations. Australia have done that. Great Britain, they've been marvellous in defence. It was only one lapse. The Australian side had the class and the expertise to take advantage of that. Steve Renoff scoring the try. And now find themselves in front with 10 minutes to go. 10 points to 6. It'll be tough to pull back from here.
This is Devereaux. He'll be ruining the attempted tackle on Renoff. Betts. Far from over this game. 10 minutes to go. Australia leading by 4. And what a goal it was for Mal Meninga. Hanley put down. Walters and Lazarus combining to make the tackle. Fox kicks it down the centre. And again a good bounce for Tim Brasher.
Had a great game, Timmy Brasher, hasn't he? He's brought the ball back very, very well every time he's got it. And after that first mistake with the bomb, a younger, another player might have been a bit miffed as to how he was going to play, but he's taken the rest of them sensationally.
Langer gives a wide pass for Renoff. His confidence would be high, but this time Devereaux makes the tackle. 30 metres away from the Australian line. Hancock. Langer. Tate goes across to field this kick. Back on his own 22. He starts his progress. Hunt. Away from Cartwright. And another before being pulled down by Steve Walters. Fox. Edwards. Cuts out Betts. Finds Schofield. Schofield dummies to O'Fire. Pulled down by Khan. 10 metres short of the halfway. Clark. Betts. Oh, trunching tackle over the top by Cartwright. Dermott. Platt. Turns it back. Fine pass for Dermott. Put down and away for Hanley. Wrapped up there by Fittler. 5 gone for England now. Fox. Hancock. Coming away off his own line.
Well, we certainly won't see anything silly here from the Australian players. They'll be looking to just work the ball out of their own territory, a minimum of passes, some good dummy half running, and getting a good kick away at the end of it. You'd think now, well, here's Beninga, it's knocked on, trying for that dummy half run, but just over anxious.
Wasn't a great play, the ball, though, by Bobby Linder. Made it hard for Mal.
And surely you'd think now that England would be looking towards Martin Offiah. They've got to somehow get him involved, either bring him in off scrum wins, work towards his wing.
Well, here he comes now, folding from the left wing, linking up now, giving it away to Hunt immediately. Hancock got him on his outside. Hanley is the dummy half. This is John Devereaux. Oh, great hands there. That was Martin Offiah.
There's plenty of space out here for Great Britain team want to throw it.
Schofield. Still they're 10 metres away, but they're threatening danger. Trailing by 4, Great Britain. Clark looking to unload, but Gillespie puts him away. Dermott cuts out 3 players, finds Devereaux. Short passing. Hunt back for Edwards. 15 out. 10 out. Played by Edwards. Dermott kicks for himself. Was he felled late? No.
Well, it was a dumb kick, whatever happened. Last tackle, it was always going to be too long. There's the shake of the head, and I think there are a few other shakes of heads in the Great Britain team.
Replacement being made now for Great Britain. It's Ellery Hanley, the man to be replaced.
Rain starting to fall at Wembley. The lights are on and the rain is tumbling down. Cartwright. Just a simple hit up.
Richard
That's all that's required now.
Sorry, Ray. Richard Ayres on for Hanley in 17.
5 minutes to go. Gillespie now. Australia keeping it tight. Ayres on for Hanley as Lazarus makes it out to the 40-metre line. He's made some strong runs today, Glenn Lazarus. Walters, another dummy half scamper. It carries him to the halfway mark. Brad Fittler, a dummy half. Langer turning Martin Offiah around. Will he find touch? Yes, he does. About 3 metres out from the line.
Well, I don't know about Offiah today. He came into this game with a cloud with an injury, but he hasn't looked interested in the game at all. He hasn't looked to get himself involved. They haven't used his wing like they did when they were out in Australia for the Test series.
Fox, O'Fire. Pulled down by Tim Brasher. Standing up in the back line. Now Sean Edwards. Allowed to run for a long time.
It was actually a penalty, Ray.
You wouldn't know it.
He's kicked the ball out as the penalty.
Skerritt. Dermot away for Platt. Now Fox. Edwards in the run around. Betts out wide. Right on the halfway mark. Ayres. Fresh man on. Making valuable territory. Edwards folds from left to right. Then dummies inside. Gives it outside for Hunt. Hunt gets inside the 32. Langer's there to hold him though. Probably under 3.5 minutes to go. Fox resorts to the air. Brasher. He had no hope with it. Ayres comes up with it. 6 more tackles.
Got numbers to the left here. Off his wing. It's a slow play the ball.
Andy Platt. 10 metres out from the line. The crowd really behind Great Britain now. They're at their loudest octave. Skerritt plays the ball. Away for Gary Schofield. Knocked down by Mal Meninga.
Desperation play by the captain there, Big Mal. You can see they were a little bit short. The long passes on out to O'Fire. And Mal's big right Duke got in there and saved the day for them.
Well, O'Fire did a war dance. The pass is coming to his chest. He thought he was in. But this is the last roll of the dice for Great Britain. Sean Edwards is the key player.
Edwards using a fire. Meninga takes him but doesn't clamp him. Schofield goes around and Steve Renouf brings him down.
Yeah, good defence by Renouf.
25 out from the line. This is Ayres.
Calling for Platt to take the ball forward here. They've got to attack on the next play.
There's the mistake Australia was working for. The knock-on against Great Britain and 10 points to 6. Just a couple of minutes of time remaining, if that.
Got to give the Australians some credit for their defence. Great defensive effort. I can't remember Great Britain making a clean break in the whole match.
Langer carries the ball back to the scrum base very slowly. Referee called timeout, puts it back on. Brasher. 15 out from his line. Rain absolutely teeming down now. Kevin Walters. Just simple plays. Soaking up the time. And hopefully retaining the World Cup. There it is, tumbling down out of the skies above Wembley. The cup holders looking as though they're going to hang on to it now, although Hancock loses the ball. Another chance for Great Britain. And they get a penalty. Right in front.
It's got to be a tap.
They don't take that. They take the tap. Dennis Betts. Out from the line. Platt. He tries to get a pass away. There's the siren. It's all over. Australia retains the World Cup. 10 points to 6. Just the one try. Scored by Steve Renouf. 26 minutes into the second half. Valiant performance. Given the preparation the Australians had. Let's not lose sight of this Great Britain effort, though. It was a mighty one.
Well, I think the one try between the sides is a pretty fair indication of 80 minutes between two sides now on the international level. Very little separating them. We saw a 2-1 victory to the Australian side and the last British Lions tour. That was the case in 1990 with the Kangaroos. And Steve Walters in picture there. A marvellous game for the Australian side. Took the ball forward from dummy half. He had a lot of great support out there from some players who haven't played for many weeks. A real test match. We said coming into this game that it would be the best test for Australia in the last decade, and that's how it's turned out.
So this victory today by the Australians will wipe away those memories of their loss here in the first test in 1990. It was becoming something of a hoodoo Wembley. But this victory today, it'll be most satisfying for both the players and, of course, their coach, Bob Fulton. Naturally, looks of disappointment on the faces of the Great Britain side. They played tremendously. But the Australians, all credit to them. Some of them hadn't played for 8 weeks. Surely they had played 3 lead-up matches against second division sides over here. The Bronco players had to lift themselves again after winning one of Rugby League's richest prizes. So when you add it all up, it's been a very big effort by Australia to win as Mal Meninga now makes his way up with the Australians to take the Stones World Cup trophy. The cup that they brought down to defend. They won it in New Zealand 4 years ago. A memorable game that was too at Eden Park, the home of rugby union over there. And here we are at this great stadium at Wembley. Chris Bumballis on the sidelines.
Victory here for the Australians. Man of the match was Steve Walters. Fantastic effort.
Yeah, it was good over win, Chris. It was a good team effort, you know. I thought we were the better side all day. We just couldn't get over the line, you know. And it's good to see Stevie Renouf dive over there.
Well done. Victory. Take it away.
So Mal Meninga now leads the procession. There goes the cup. Held high. Crowd of just under 80,000 at Wembley. They applaud the Rugby League World Champions. Some fine performances, but I think Peter Sterling and Paul Vaughton would agree the judges got it right with the man of the match.
I think they did. I thought Steve Walters had a super game, and probably the closest to him was Tim Brasher, who recovered from that earlier mistake. Took some great high-pressure balls. For really a lesser player after making that first mistake may have shirked the task a little bit, but Steve Walters, he was the best go-ahead man for them. He really took advantage of the quick play the balls when the Australians were allowed.
Got a great hit and spin, isn't he? Sort of he'll go into the tackle and just slow down and keep his legs pumping and spin out of it and keep going. He was great around that dummy half area, but full marks to the Australians because their defence won them the match. And the defence was shared equally among all the forwards.
And full marks, of course, to the Great Britain team now making the journey after the Australians. The losers do get to go up at the Wembley Stadium. And they'll be very disappointed, but they can go home very satisfied with their efforts.
Well, again, they've shown that the gap between Australia and Great Britain has been narrowed. There's now very little between these two rugby league nations. There was a gap for a good period of time, but the most recent Test series and the World Cup today proves, I think, conclusively that they are getting better all the time. Incidentally, the man presenting the trophies is Douglas Hurd. He's the Foreign Minister in the House of Commons.
And no matter what you think, defensively is where the area that Great Britain have come back. They learned from 82 and 86 tours of the Kangaroos coming over here undefeated, but that was the area they were deficient in. We've seen one try scored in this game today. Last weekend in one of their cup finals between St Helens and Wigan, it finished 5-4 to Wigan. That particular game saw no tries. So the emphasis there really is on defence, and if they were going to be competitive against Australia at the international level, they really had to polish that act up.
Getting a great round of applause too. The Great Britain fans are very proud of their players today. I thought their best was Sean Edwards. He was outstanding for them. He was in everything. His defence was terrific. And Alan Hunt in the wing, I thought he had a great game as well.
Platt up front, again, confirmed one of his, or the status that he is one of the top forwards in the world.
Well, there they are, the Australians, jubilant, holding the World Cup. We'll pause and take a break and bring you
won the World Cup final here at Wembley Stadium, 10 points to 6. And marvellous scenes for the Australians, doing the lap of honour around Wembley. A fair bit of Australian support here. But one thing about the British supporters, they're not backwards in applauding what they believe was a good game of football and a good team effort. And it took a great team effort, and a man very relieved that they came through in the end. The Australian coach, Bob Fulton, now with Chris Bombolas.
Well, Bob Fulton, that was a tough one to sit through, wasn't it?
It certainly was, particularly the position I was in. I mean, when you look at it, I mean, you're up there in the stands, you can't do anything about it. And the game was played by two magnificent football sides this afternoon, and I suppose when you look at it, our last 10 minutes from a defensive point of view was absolutely fantastic. As coach, how nervous were you sitting back watching the team? Well, before the game I wasn't, but I can tell you during the course of the game I was, and particularly when we got to that 10-6 lead, it was, you know, the last 10 minutes or 12 minutes or so seemed to be like an hour. Did you think at 6-4 down that, you know, Wembley was again going to be another graveyard for Australia? No, I didn't think so, because we were making a lot of breaks against them, and their scrambling defence was pretty good. But the fact is that, it was, you know, only time would tell with them. I mean, we had to score a try. I mean, we deserved a try. And when you have a look at the options they had in attack, they had plenty of them, but we closed them all down. Our defence was fantastic. Another brave performance, though, by the Lions in going down, wasn't it? Yeah, but, you know, all I'm concerned about is Australia, and we've won, and, you know what, it's a beauty. Heavy duty celebrating tonight? Oh, we'll see. OK, best of luck. Thanks, Bob Fulton. Another tremendous coaching effort there from Bob Fulton. Not easy to come across here with the limited preparation. And Paul, the confidence he's shown in a couple of players out there picking them for their first test was certainly well and truly vindicated. Brasher, Renoff, Fittler, they all played very well. Well, Bozo's a great coach, and he did everything right here for this trip. He picked a squad of 22, just with the one game in mind. Sure, they had a few lead-up games, but he wanted to bring, you know, a full squad of 22 over. He came over a couple of weeks early, they've acclimatised to conditions, all preparing for this one game today. And although they've only won 10-6, we heard Bozo talk about the defence in the last 10 minutes. I thought that was the best aspect of their game. There weren't too many clean breaks in the game, but their defence in that last 10 was just simply brilliant. Of course, when you've got a 4-point lead, you do tend to lift, and they could see Great Britain throwing everything at them, but they had some great players there today. Brad Fittler, he's really come of age. I can see him being the Australian 5'8" for many years to come. Well, the Australians going back down the tunnel after a very hard-fought win. Magnificent game of football. The Australians coming out on top in this World Cup final. We'll be back after the break. Stadium now emptying out. Almost 80,000 people here today to witness a very hard-fought win by the Australian team, 10 points to 6. Marvellous game of football, and everything we expected, Paul Vaughton. We thought it would be a close game. They've shown that there's very little between them. It was very enthralling, wasn't it? It really kept the crowd on their toes for the whole 80 minutes, and in the end, Australia just getting up with 10 minutes to go with that try to Renoff. John Devro missed the tackle. The Manly fans won't be too happy watching that, but it was a fantastic game of football. In Australia, it's been a long, hard road for them. 4 years it's taken to play this World Cup series, and the culmination today, it's been a great performance. Well, we mentioned at half-time there was a fairly unsavoury incident with an elbow to Brad Fittler's head. I thought a fairly unsavoury one in the second half as well. Paul Vaughton said that Sean Edwards had a very fine match, which he did, but he did miss 10 minutes, and it was courtesy of this when he was sent to the sin bin.
Here's O'Fire coming in off the blind wing. Renoff pulled down magnificently there by Nathan O'Fire.
Sean Edwards has got him with the best knee and has copped 10 minutes for it. Ridiculous play from Edwards. He's leaving his side short now, but he too is lucky to stay on there. Threw the knee out after making the tackle, and it was a desperate tackle on Steve Renoff. Apart from that, Edwards did have a very good game for the Great Britain team. There was plenty of good performers out there in a game where there were fairly limited opportunities, and I suppose the closest one in the second half before Steve Renoff's try was an effort by Willie Kahn after some good work from Mal Meninga. I still think no try, Paul. You have a look at it. We look at it here. No try for mine, forward pass.
Walters, Lazarus on the blind side. Meninga goes towards the corner. Flicks it out for Kahn. Kahn's rubber kick. He gets it down, but the referee calls it back.
Well, I don't know if he's ruled a forward pass or a knock on there. It's one of them. Well, let's have a look. We'll see what is wrong with it. Mal getting in the way of Bobby. That's forward.
Oh, turn it up to try.
That was forward.
Should have 140 quid jumping in.
So there was the disallowed try to Willie Kahn. It cost me 140 quid, because over here you can bet on who's going to score the first try, and Willie Cohen was 14-1. Unlucky for me, but at 6-4, England looking good with about 12-13 minutes remaining, and looked like they might have taken the World Cup final. But then it was a Kevy Walters who had played very well when he came on. He was starting to do a few things. He gave a beautiful pass to Renouf, and here's what happened. They've been trying the inside passes all day, the Aussies, but the Great Britain defence has been equal to the task. They're coming up both sides now.
Kevin Walters delivers to Renouf. Here comes a try. Renouf! Renouf scores! First and only try. Debutant player. Beautiful pass. Right onto his chest. And Steve Renouf scores a try in his first international.
22 metres he travelled. A great ball here from Kevin Walters.
This is the pass that we saw Kevy develop as the year went on. He puts it on the outside shoulder of the player he's throwing it to. Renouf, Devereaux, very poor in defence there. He came up and took no one and allowed Renouf to get on the outside of him. There he was, completely out positioned was Devereaux, and Renouf, too much pace.
Tremendous season for the young centre from Brisbane, Steve Renouf. That's a try he won't forget for a long, long time. We'll be back to Wembley Stadium after this break. Welcome back to what is now an empty Wembley Stadium. Not long ago, we had 80,000 fans packed in there watching Australia win this World Cup final 10 points to 6. And of course, both teams now looking to back up for a very important game next week, Paul Vaughton, the final of the Club Championship, which of course will have a lot of players out there from the Wigan representatives and a lot of Australians backing up for Brisbane.
Yeah, Wigan and the Broncos playing next Friday night over here. I know the Broncos, the rest of the Broncos who aren't in this Australian side arrived in Manchester yesterday, and they're all keyed up, been training 4 or 5 days a week for that game. It's going to be a great game, and remains to be seen how the Australians who play today back up in a few days' time for that.
Well, one player not forced to back up, but a very happy man this afternoon, led by example once again, the Australian captain Mal Meninga with Chris Bumbalus.
Thank you, Sterlo. Well, Mel, that was a tough encounter of the highest order.
Yeah, we knew we come here expecting a tough game. We had some good lead-up games coming this game, but nothing could prepare us for today. They were all inspiring. You know, the crowd was tremendous right behind them, and made our job a lot difficult. You know, our defence was excellent, which I was very happy about. You know, they didn't make too many breaks, and we got the one that counted.
What about the turning point? Obviously, that try when it came, but there was still a lot of time for England to get back into it. It wasn't over then, was it?
Well, we put a lot of pressure on, particularly in that second half. We made a lot of mistakes towards just after half-time that got them off the hook a fair few times, but we kept the pressure on them, and in the end, I think that really told. And, you know, when Steve went in the corner, and, you know, it was happy days, and I thought that, like I said before, man, our defence was immaculate today.
Yeah, their defence wasn't too bad either, really.
Well, it wasn't. It was pretty good. You know, we made a lot of breaks. Their scrambling defence was excellent. Their first up defence, I guess, was a little bit lax, but they covered very well for themselves. And like I said, until we got that break towards the end, you know, it was anybody's game.
Well, tell us, how sweet is victory at Wembley in a World Cup final?
Well, it's a long time. You know, the odds are against us today. We haven't beaten England or Great Britain over here for a long, long time. Got beaten in 90. Yeah, the crowd was against us, but we showed true character and spirit, and the guys stuck to our guns. You know, we could have thrown the towel in there when we started making mistakes. We couldn't cross the line because of their defence, but you know, we stuck to our guns and we got there.
Some heavy duty celebrating tonight?
Well, maybe heavy duty celebrate for the next 5 days, I imagine. It's been a long year for a lot of the boys, and we're just glad we got this game over and done with. You know, it was a hard game, and you know, we'll get ready for Singapore and things like that, and we'll have a good time.
Congratulations, Mal. We might move along and move right up to the try scorer. His first test match for Australia and a try in a World Cup final at Wembley. Steve Renouf, I suppose the operant question, how does it feel?
Oh, awesome, mate, Bomber. It's, you know, it's a feeling that I don't know if I'll get the feel again, but it's, you know, I'll just savour this one.
When you saw that gap, you saw the long pass. It's one of those passes we've seen Kevy Walters throw a million times for the Broncos. Did you think, hey, I'm going across here?
Oh, yeah, you know, Kevy just sets one of them balls up and, you know, you just cannot score, so it's a great ball by him.
Victory in a World Cup final, what does it mean for Steve Renouf and his career?
Oh, mate, I don't know. You know, I'll just keep going how I'm going and settle in for next season.
Obviously, you blokes can't celebrate too much. That's the 8 Broncos in the World Cup squad. You've got another challenge coming up.
Oh, mate, we're definitely going to celebrate, and we'll be ready for the World Cup game.
What about the game against Wigan? You looking forward to that one?
Yeah, you know, we want to cap everything off with that win and hopefully come out club champions.
Okay, and we'll throw back to Peter Sterling and let Steve Renouf and the rest of the Australian team celebrate.
The centre pairing there from Australia, and maybe one that we will see in that position for for the Australians for many years to come. The bad news for England, of course, Paul Vorton, is that Mal Meninga is keen to come back in 94. They must be sick of the sight of him.
Yeah, well, he's been coming here for a long time now, but getting back to Steve Renouf, that was a big decision, wasn't it, by Bozo? He could have gone for Chris Johns, the more experienced centre, or for the newcomer in Renouf. He's gone for Renouf. It's come up trumps because Steve went over for that match-winning try.
Well, a tremendous effort from all the Australians, and one that certainly Steve Renouf will remember. But a lot of sport coming up on Channel 9. Stay with us later on this morning at 11 o'clock for the Mercantile Mutual Cup between Queensland and Western Australia. That's
you,
from
Queenslanders.
Brisbane. And at 3 o'clock, that's Eastern Summer Time, the Japanese Formula One Cup title. They certainly had to play their best football to do so. On behalf of Ray Warren, Paul Vorton, Chris Bombolas and the whole 9 Wide World of Sports team, we wish you a very good afternoon from the Wembley Stadium.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.